Here we are on the home stretch. Home stretch. We're still playing home and we're coming up to the climax. I only know that because I've played this before. This is my second time through. I'm doing things a little bit differently. It was locked. This wasn't the right gate. Like I'm supposed to know. The gate was locked tight. This wasn't my house. Well, you can't tell from out here. It doesn't have names and stuff written on it. There we go. I wonder if there were any others. That door wouldn't let me back. I had to find my house. Oh, well, fine. Be that way. There are so many TVs just thrown out. Who throws out a perfectly good TV? Hey, mailbox. The neighborhood's local post box. A letter was sticking out, as if someone hadn't pushed it all the way in. I knew it wasn't right, but did I look at the letter? Yes, because we're doing a yes man playthrough. Say yes to everything. The envelope was addressed to Norman. There was no return address, but the handwriting looked familiar. I took a deep breath and tore open the package. Norman, I'm sending this to you in a letter because I'm afraid to tell you this in person. What we did, well, it was wrong. My husband isn't an easy man to be with, but he is my husband and your friend. I need some time to sort this out, away from you both. I'm going away for a while. I'm going to tell him. Norman, so you don't think you can hold that against me. Maybe we'll work it out. I'm not sure I even want to, but he deserves at least that much. Goodbye. That cheating harpy. I knew it. I knew they did a little work. Norman, my best friend. I'm guessing my house is the one with the tomato sauce all over it. My best friend Norman and my wife Rachel, they were playing patty cake. Kudos if you got that reference. I had entered our backyard. The rain gave me a terrible sense of foreboding, and it chilled me through my clothes. Well, you are standing in the rain. I was expectant, but also afraid. Do 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 do. More tomato sauce. I held my breath as I approached our back door. I was terrified to step inside. The house was painfully quiet. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged and strained. I flicked the light switch by the door. The power was off. I remembered having breakfast here on this very table. Was that yesterday? Sometime before. The table was clean. It hadn't been used any time recently. There's multiple. The front door was locked from inside. I couldn't go out though. I needed to see if Rachel was here. There was a small pile of mail on the floor, in front of the mail slot. How long had I been away? Why hadn't Rachel picked this up? Most of the contents were bills. Bills, 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 the bane of my existence. There was a credit card bill there. Did I open it? Yeah. I ripped the bill open and read it. To my surprise, it said something about canceling my credit card due to non-payment. What the hell? The door to the basement was locked. Where did I put that damn key? You up here? Rachel, you home? Honey? The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. What? You know, sometimes having a puzzle just for puzzle's sake is a bit annoying. It's got to feel, you know, what's the word? Organic. Like it's meant to be there. I'd found the last missing piece from my wallet. The old photo of Rachel and I stared back at me, reminding me of better times. It didn't make me feel terribly comfortable. Did I keep it anyway? Well, yeah. I replaced the photo in my wallet, feeling like I had got part of my life back. Still, the image made me uneasy. Why had I thrown it away? Ooh, trophy! Our television. I had purchased it before I knew I was going to lose my job. I felt pretty guilty about it afterward, but by then it was too late. It's never too late. Just return it. Rachel was pretty angry about that, I realized. Well, yeah, you can return it. Get your money back. That's how things work usually. Hey, some stores have a no return policy. What if people have these 3-4-story houses? Our hallway mirror had been smashed, its pieces scattered around the floor. I like the word strewn, personally. I couldn't really make myself out anymore. I wasn't sure I wanted to. I have some feelings about our pal here. Bathroom. Ooh. Our sink, which needed to be replaced. One of the taps always stuck, but I hadn't got around to fixing it yet. Rachel, honey, you taking a shower? We were lucky enough to get a house with one of those wonderful old claw-footed bathtubs. It seemed impractical at times, but it was part of what made that house home. Aww. You murdered your wife, didn't you? The old house was charming for sure, but it wasn't always easy. What's the point of coming in the bathroom? You still got a knife in your boot, dude. I mean, look, there's ketchup all over the floor here. Are you not noticing that? My laptop had been left on and only had a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was a website about the old water tower. Are you sure? You sure you're not looking up some other stuff? Do we need to clear browser history? There was a key in the top drawer of my desk. Did I take it? Yeah. I pocketed the key. Was it the old key or is it the basement key? Because I need to know. The laptop was warm. It had been running for a while. I mean, what kind of battery does your laptop have, dude? I mean, you've been gone for days, months, who knows? Alright, let's keep searching. Rachel, honey. Rachel. You up here, darling? Ooh, bookshelf. The books there were half mine, half Rachel's. Like half of the book, like the first half, second half, you just split, you know, crossways. Hey, now that I looked more closely, it looked like the man in that house had some of the same books as I did. Well, I mean, if you get some bestsellers, people like the same books, you know. One book in particular seemed a bit odd. I remembered owning it, but not that edition. My wife's, Rachel's, suitcase was sitting on the bed. It was closed, but I had a feeling what was in it. Did I open it? Yes, you did. Inside Rachel's suitcase were a few days' worth of clothes, some personal effects, and a train ticket. As I stared at the ticket, I could feel myself flush with anger and resentment. The date and time matched the receipt I had found. Rachel, why? Were you really going to run away with Norman? Was I really such a monster? I don't see another key. The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. All right, I still haven't found the old-fashioned key. Anyway, back down in the basement. I unlocked the basement door. There were old Christmas decorations in the box. Just that one tiny box. Y'all didn't decorate much. I couldn't even remember our last Christmas. This was like a month ago. The garbage bags were stuffed with old paint cans and supplies. There was a dirty old key here. Did I take the key? Yes, you did. I took the small key and tried to remember what it unlocked. You know what it unlocks. My heart! There were old clothes, tools, and other things we obviously hadn't thrown out yet. I had put up this divider wall last summer so we could create a separate room in the basement. I hadn't finished it yet, so the door was stuck and the drywall was poorly installed. I might have been able to break through if I found something heavy enough. We had way too much junk. Back up. Got the key. Going in that other room. Rachel, honey. You up in here? The grimy key I found in the basement unlocked the door. It looked like the room had been tossed around. The furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? I see some ketchup. There was an old crowbar on the floor. Did I need to take the crowbar? Yep. I lifted the heavy crowbar. I appreciated its weight. You're starting to sound like a psychopath there, buddy. Anything else in here? Just the crowbar? See what I mean about having a puzzle just for puzzle's sake? I had to have a specific key that I found in the basement to come back up here to get a crowbar. And I need to go back down to the basement to use the crowbar on the drywall. And there have been no jump scares since like halfway through this game. Did I break through the wall with the crowbar? Yes. With a heave, I swung the crowbar at the wall. I smashed a hole large enough to step through. It's always fun doing that. As I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in my throat. This was it. Was Rachel down there? Was she okay? How'd she get in there if it was sealed off, dude? There's a cage. What? Don't look. Don't look at what? What's in the box? What's in the box? More pages and things. Who has a cardboard box this big? You watching Stranger Things? And what is this tiny cage? Aliens? Ah, there we go. Tomato soup. Don't look. Oh, don't look. Don't look. Oh. A filthy looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful. Made my eyes water. I was terrified to even touch the pile, to see what lay within. But I knew I had to. I'd come this far. After all this searching, after all I had seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally find my Rachel? Yes. No. My hands trembled as I pulled back the layers of cloth. There, at the center, under all the dirt and mess, was my beloved, my Rachel. Her arms were bruised all over and slashed repeatedly. Her clothes were ripped and torn, and even through all that sickening blood, it was obvious she had been stabbed to death. The knife I had carried all this way suddenly seemed like a poison. What had happened, Rachel? Who did this to you? I thought about all I had seen and wondered if any of it could help me figure out who had done this. When I couldn't stay there any longer, I stepped away on shaky legs and made my way back upstairs. Reluctantly, exhausted from my journey, I could no longer resist the urge to close my eyes. You know, he just went all the way upstairs, and his wife's dead and chopped up and stuffed in a bag in the basement. Maybe I would use some of Rachel's travel books, find some place to go. It was my wallet with its contents intact. Either I dropped that stuff or somebody else did. Maybe I was sleepwalking again, or maybe somebody stole it from me. Norman's store, that forest, the water tower. Was I at those places before? Yes. I didn't see how it could have happened any other way. I must have been the one to lose my wallet and its contents. But what does that mean? So I go through the whole house. This was the old photo of that other man and his wife, I assumed. I found it in that house. I recalled those faded remains I had found deep underneath his house. What had he done there? Or what did I think? Was that man involved in this whole mess somehow? Yes, definitely. Those tunnels, the odd tools in his house, and the remains of his wife, he wasn't innocent, that's for sure. Within the few broken pieces that remained of that mirror, I could see my face had grown pale and weak. I couldn't bear to look again. It was like I didn't actually expect a reflection. I felt empty and drained. The reflection in that grimy glass was only a shadow, a whisper. I still loved the old-time charm of that claw-footed bathtub, though it seemed like cold comfort then. Is there anything else in here? Anything new? No. It was the key card I found at the bottom of that factory locker. I never did bother to use it. Yeah, rub it in. Someone had been going through those lockers and poking around the plant. Still, didn't quite add up. Was I the one who had been going back to the factory? Yes. Looked that way, didn't it? The locker room, I'd given up drinking, but the laptop had finally run out of power. See, I knew I should have done the keycard room first. I'm all the way upstairs. Okay, go down. Let's check all these rooms out too. If anything... Ooh, a safe. My old office safe sat on the floor. I used to keep tax records and other important documents in it. It used a digital passcode lock, but I didn't have the code. Maybe I left it somewhere. Man. I leafed through the notebook I'd taken from the forest. In it were the names I'd written down. Heather, Olivia, Ashley, Cheryl, Iris, Daphne, Holly, Rose, Rachel. Those poor girls. Were they victims of the same person who had killed Rachel? I wondered what happened to the other names on that list, or the ones scratched out on that desk in those wet tunnels. Find a code. I remember doing that. Oh. It was the letter I'd taken from the post box. Rachel, were you really having an affair with Norman? But why? I didn't think things were that bad. In the letter, Rachel seemed concerned. She almost seemed worried of what Norman might do. Did he do that to Rachel? Yes. I was sure of it. She wanted to end the affair, and that bastard, he killed her for it. A lot of it made sense. Norman was clearly seeing Rachel a lot. So he had plenty of time to plan it out. He knew where we lived, obviously. Is that why Rachel looked so scared when I came home that day? What happened to me? Did Norman knock me out or something? See, my initial playthrough, I said no at that point. But this is a yes man run. From now on, I'd have no one to get angry with me for stupid things like buying this TV. You definitely killed Rachel, dude. Definitely. But this is a yes man run. I'm clicking yes on everything. Alright, downstairs. See if we can find that. It seemed like I had seen all there was. Maybe I thought I was ready to go back into the basement. Not quite. I still need to look for a code. Let's see, not go through the front. Mail still sat there heaped on the floor. How long had Rachel been lying in the basement? A while, dude. She was way up in there. Probably since when you boarded it up back in the summer. There would be no more dinners here. No more chit-chat over breakfast. At least not for us. Must have locked the door. There was no reason to return to the backyard anyway. I guess I'm not going to find the code. I don't remember having that. If I was guilty, I could take this to a warm, safe place and do something about it. Did I pick up the knife? Yes. I took the knife and kept it firmly in my hand. Now that I stood there, I realized I couldn't go back into that room again. I had already seen too much. I still haven't found any code for that safe. Let's go back up. No matter what, I needed some kind of escape. Yeah, you need to escape, all right. There. That was decided. But who had killed him? I'd made up my mind. Laptop was dead, but I found some notes and loose paper in the drawer where I'd found the key. There was a yellow sticky note with an 8-digit code on it. 4R3 VHER3. Did I take it? Yes. The code looked like it might be for the safe. But what kind of phrase was that? Alright, now where's the safe? To the next floor down. The code I found should have let me access the safe. Did I try to open it? Yes. The code worked. I pulled open the small safe door and peered inside. There was a photo in there of Rachel and I when we had first moved to town. In it, we were smiling outside the front of the house, which looked like a real mess. We looked happy, though. Odd. I couldn't remember who took that photo. Inside the safe was also an envelope. The front of it read, "Do not open until I tell you." I guess this was as good a time as any to see what was inside. Did I open the envelope and read what was inside? Yes. Yes, you did. I tore open the envelope and removed the yellow lined paper inside. On it was a letter written in a hand that looked familiar. The letter read, "I know this whole event has probably been pretty difficult. You can't imagine how hard it's been for me, too." Well, maybe you can. This isn't meant to be an excuse, but, well, I hope you can better understand why I've done what I've done. Moving to this town seemed like such a dream, a quiet place to get established, to live our lives and be together. But you know as well as I do that things quickly changed. Your drinking was one thing, but as you grew more distant, as you retreated into that world of yours, well, it was clear you didn't need me as much. In fact, maybe you never needed me at all. But it took all this to make you realize. In the end, though, you may never forgive me for this. You may never forgive yourself, but this is probably for the best. You'll be healthier for this. I'm just sorry it had to happen this way. Rachel. Ooh, trophy! The man in that house was irresponsible when I woke up. I had found him dead already. Alright, I think that's everything, so we can get out of the house. Let's see, I have the knife. Can I put it in the kitchen somewhere? No? Okay. Alright. I knew I needed to escape that nightmare. What about the knife I still carried? I wondered, even if I left, would it really be over? So, did I leave that house forever? Yes. One final yes. Living in this town hadn't been easy. The plant had helped in some way to stay grounded. It kept me in line, gave me something to do, and helped me get away from my past. When the factory closed, everything changed. I guess that was when I had started sleepwalking, disappearing for hours at a time. I had MRIs and piles of doctor's reports, but nothing seemed to help, not even drinking. But I swear, I had tried to give it up. I know it. The sleepwalking never really went away, though. But I know Rachel had tried. I know she had tried to be there for me, even when everything was falling apart. This night had unearthed terrible truths, but I knew it was a final act of a long-standing horror I'd been living. Waking up in that house tonight was the final cruelty. I wish I had remained unconscious in that room forever. It was obvious to me that the man I had found in that house had something to do with all of this. Could he have killed Rachel? It started to seem that there were too many things I had seen to think otherwise. After making it out of those tunnels, I thought those sewers might feel safer. I was wrong. The security tape I watched showed someone being attacked by what looked like two people. But who was it that was attacked? I'd found the contents of my wallet scattered through town. Why the hell had I been out there? Had my sleepwalking gone to some new extreme? The thought that I couldn't account for my whereabouts, but knew I'd been to that forest and even Norman's place, well, it was terrifying. I didn't know what that meant, but at least I had recovered my things, hopefully. I thought that would cover my tracks, so I wouldn't be blamed for all this. Even more troubling were those poor girls I'd found in those terrible woods. Half hidden in a shallow grave, their secret deaths seemed like the ultimate defiling. If I hadn't found them, would anyone have done so? Would they have even been missed? I vaguely recall the desk I'd seen in those tunnels, the names etched there. Someone had killed those girls. What? Was it that man? It was clear, at least, that I had been the one going back to the factory. I must have been sleepwalking or something. But what the hell was I doing there? I'd given up drinking, hadn't I? So what was going on in that boarded-up room? Suddenly my stomach started to turn. I was responsible for that dead guard? After the factory, I thought I might find some solace if I could just get to Norman's store. But all I'd found were more horrors, more questions. Now that I really consider it, that's when I should have seen it coming. Norman, you were dead. And it was damn hard to feel bad about that. It was clear you and Rachel were more than just friends, but obviously whatever had been going on had gone badly. So why did you kill her? Did she want out of whatever you two were getting into? Were you responsible for the other murders and of those other horrible things that had gone on in that town? I would find no peace. That much was certain. But this way, I didn't have to look you in the eye or sit through some kind of trial and wonder what was going through your head. When I had marched through the rain towards home, I desperately clung to the hope that this would end. I guess, in a way, it did. But how could I have known how hopeless it all was? I had started to feel as disoriented as when I sleepwalked. To think of it now, coming through the back door into the kitchen should have tipped me off that something was horribly wrong. There was no sound of television, radio, even the air was still. But seeing Rachel there, lying ruined and discarded in the basement, that was a horror I could never have imagined. That other man I had found was involved in all this somehow, I knew it. But it was Norman, that traitorous son of a bitch who had done the deed. Whatever was going on, he was the one who took Rachel away from me. I hated him for it more than I could possibly express, but that offered no strength, no solace. Rachel was gone now, and I was too, forever. As I swung open the door and stepped out into the air, I caught the scent of wet grass and fog. Rachel, my beautiful wife. Just the thought of her again, cold and inert, shook me from head to toe. What would I do now? Who could I turn into? It would only be a matter of time before the police got involved, before the neighbors knew. The front lawn was soft and giving beneath my feet. I couldn't shake the urge that I shouldn't stand there, but rather that I should run. Well, all right, that was Home, a unique horror adventure. This is my second playthrough. I did things a bit differently, found a few new things. The stuff still basically turned out the same. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm pretty sure he killed Rachel. And that was the ending I got when I played the first time, because everything points to him, son of Snake. Oh, Alex Hader. Oh, cool. That's why he's son of Snake. I didn't catch that the last time. That's awesome. Anyway, I guess there's a couple other endings I can try for. But that was Home, a unique horror adventure. I liked it. I was expecting a bit more from it my initial playthrough, so I kind of knew where things were. The couple jump scares in the spots towards the beginning were nice, but I kind of wish there was more of it. It kind of seemed like the less jump scares there were, the more and more I started to think that the guy I was playing was actually the bad guy. And it kind of seems like no matter what he decides to believe, all the evidence points towards him. But anyway, that was Home. I've been the Random Ninja. Let me know if you guys like this, if you want to see more like this. I've done this. I got a couple other videos I want to do, this kind of Let's Play style. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. For more from the Random Ninja 5, this has been a Random Ninja Attack. See you in the next video.